females in Orlando. I'm talking about, man, honored and have the privilege to have her own set. We got Mercedes Streets in the building. What's up? How you feeling?
Man, I feel great. Thank you for having me. You know what I mean? I'm excited to talk about my career.
Oh, definitely, Queen. Definitely. So how was your day, man? What you got into?
Man, it's good. Let's see. I had a couple meetings today. I just got off the phone with if you remember Smiles and South Star.
Yeah.
Smiles just called me on the way here. He's got a big event coming up, so I'll have some information on that in a little bit. He's sending me the information. So there's always something going on every day. We don't take no breaks, Sunday or not, no breaks.
I'm talking about 20 years, over 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And you still going.
Of course.
Where is this energy coming from?
Man, I mean, what else am I going to do? What am I going to do? Go to school in my 40s and be a lawyer now? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
About,
this is all I know.
People say it's not longevity and hard work, and especially doing music, promotion, artist, and management. For females, man, I'm telling you, they lying. This is the evidence right here. This is the proof in the pudding. But check this out, Mercedes. What we gonna do is we want to get to know who you are. Okay. We got a lot of people looking from the outside looking in. They don't say they know you hard working. They know you get it popping in the streets. But what we want to know is the woman behind the movie.
Okay.
So hey, we're gonna start off from the scratch. Now, exactly where are you from? Where was you born?
I was born in Daytona Beach, but I grew up in Orlando. I lived in a couple other cities over the years. Like I lived in New Orleans, I lived in Atlanta, South Carolina, Tampa, Miami. But I grew up in Orlando. This is definitely my city. I rep it anywhere I go.
All right. But you was born in Daytona?
Daytona Beach, yeah.
All right. So all right, let's start at the beginning. Like, as a child, how was your upbringing? Like, let's say 1 through 10. Like, how was your upbringing in Daytona?
So by the time I was going to pre-K, I was in Orlando. So I grew up in Orlando, pre-K, K, and everything. And I honestly, my whole life was being a dancer. I was a professional ballerina. I was with the Southern Ballet Company, which was like the huge Orlando ballet company back then. And so I wasn't in one of those little rinky-dink ballet schools. Like I was at the actual company. Yeah, we did like the real productions. That was my whole life. And then by the time I got to high school, I was playing instruments. I was singing. That's where my music came from. But the inspiration for music actually came from my uncle, who was in a really big, famous band back in the 70s. And the people that are still alive in the band actually do still tour, called The Association. They were kind of like a folk rock band. So I grew up being around him at his shows, and that's honestly what inspired me to start playing instruments and singing and playing music.
All right, there we go. So all right, what part of Orlando did you grow up in?
Man, all over. I went everywhere from Ocoee Elementary all the way over to Oviedo High School and graduated from Lake Mary High School. So my parents moved so many times. It's a long story, but yeah, I've been all over Orlando. I grew up everywhere.
All right, so you grew up with both parents?
For the most part, up until high school. Yeah.
All right. Now, how many siblings did you have?
Just me. I'm the only one.
You was the only child?
I guess I was a mistake or something. I don't
know. So how was it being the only child when you was young? Like how would you describe yourself?
I would say it made me independent because I really didn't know anything else. Like I didn't have anybody else to rely on. I was by myself most of the time. So I spent most of the time either because I was in dance. So I was always practicing like the recitals and dancing that we had coming up. Or if we had like a singing event or a band event, I was practicing for that. So those things kept me so busy. I don't think I really even noticed, like I wasn't lonely or anything.
Yeah.
And then I was in a lot of sports in school. So it was like, I always just was always busy. It was never stopped,
All right. So how would you describe your parents when you were growing up? Like, what were they like?
Okay. So I hope my mom doesn't watch this. It'd be so bad. So my dad is the more like the fun guy. You know what I mean? Like he would take me to concerts. He would take me to, this is crazy, but he would take me to bars all the time and there would be live bands. He would take me to the beach and there'd be reggae bands on the beach all the time. So my dad was definitely the fun one. He took me and inspired me with music to all these different things. We would go on vacation. We'd go everywhere. My mom was more, the strict one, trying to keep everything in the house in order. So it's kind of hard because a woman always usually ends up being like the hardcore one, to like the strict one. But my dad was definitely the fun guy.
So you said the first thing you got into was dance.
Mm-hmm.
And how old was you when you got into dance?
Oh man, I think I was like in pre-K.
Pre-K?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my first memories are being in ballet class. I was really young. I think my parents were just trying to keep me busy because they own their own business, and I think they were just trying to throw me into stuff just to keep me busy.
What kind of business did they own?
It was called Executive Services of Central Florida. So it was basically like anything a business would need where they didn't have the staff to do, whether it was just like making copies, answering phone calls. This was like back when there really wasn't cell phones too heavy, and people were calling like your business. So like it was like an answering service. It was just kind of like all around like whatever a business would need.
All right. So how good was you at ballet when you was younger?
I was good because I was in a company and we would actually do big productions. We'd have to try out. But like I was in the Nutcracker, I was in the Maypole dances, I was in a couple other different like the big productions, like the ones that people pay for. Like if you look up the Orlando Ballet, the company I was in was called Southern Ballet Theater, and I think that now developed into Orlando Ballet Theater, or Orlando Ballet.
And how long did you do that for?
Oh man, I was a dancer. I mean, I'd say from pre-K all the way through high school, and then when I graduated high school, then life takes over, and I stopped doing anything with it.
Now let's skip up to your teenage years, like up to age let's say 15.
Okay.
How was you from like up to age 15? Did you change from going from your elementary to your like middle school age?
I was extremely shy. Like I could get on stage in front of thousands of people and dance, but to do this, even to talk on camera or talk to you, I would have been frozen. I wouldn't have been able to talk to anybody. So going from the small school I was in to high school, it was like such a big school. It was like being thrown to the wolves. You know what I mean? You had to learn how to talk to people. You had to learn, how to interact. It was more like social. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like middle school, everybody was just like so cliquish and like mean. Yeah. But when I went to high school, it was love. It was like everybody's just having fun, and it was a whole different world.
So how would you describe yourself, besides the shyness, how would you describe yourself in high school? Like if you describe yourself in 3 words in high school, what would it be?
I would say focused for sure, because I was actually the co-captain of the dance team.
Oh, okay.
So that was a big part for me, and I was on the track team. So I was definitely focused on that. I say social, because I did become more social. I had more friends. I had more of a life. I would actually go out and do things. Fun. Yeah.
All right. So what made you want to get rid of the shyness and become more social? Like did something happen that make you want to be more, out there, more like people driven or whatnot?
I think definitely just having more friends, like having the friendships in high school. And having friends that would grab me and be like, hey, we're going to go to this concert, or we're going to go to the beach. We're going to go do this, do that. Because being alone, like being a loner, being an only child, I never would have been like, oh, I want to actually go and do this or do that. You know what I mean? But having friends who were like, oh, we're going to go do these things got me out, got me out in the club, got me out at concerts and different cool events.
All right. So what was one of the most fondest moments you could say as a child that you had, that you experienced? Like something you think about and makes you like, you smile or whatnot.
Oh, man, you're getting deep on me. I don't have a very big family. So I had to have an extreme ear surgery. I had a hole in my eardrum. And I remember my grandfather, who was in World War II, Vietnam War, Korean War, who was very quiet. A lot of those men came back from the wars and didn't really interact with people. He was very quiet. But when I had my ear surgery, I remember he showed up and actually was there for me and was there like with me during it. Right. And that meant a lot to me. Like that was a fond memory, even though it was kind of like a crazy situation being a kid, having to have surgery, But I remember him being there for me. That was pretty cool.
All right. So how was y'all's relationship between you and your grandfather?
I mean, like I said, he was really quiet. So it was just kind of like he would talk, but it was more just like that stoic man in your life. You know what I mean? But I really learned more about him just from my mom talking about him.
All right. Now you said you really have a lot of family. Was your family from Daytona?
No. So my dad was born in Cuba and was adopted as a baby. This is right before all the craziness happened. where they like locked down the borders.
Yeah.
So he was adopted and grew up in Miami. My mom, so I didn't have any family on that side. Like the woman who adopted him had a very small family, so there wasn't a lot there, and I have no idea who any of his family is from Cuba. My mom's side of the family also was a little bit small. Her family was up north. Like her mom was from Canada. She's like a Indian, French Canadian, and then her father, my grandfather, his family was from Ireland. So they were all the way up in the Dakotas and then moved down to Florida. So they were kind of, you know, that was a small family also.
She's so systematic. Popping pills, she's such an addict.